Welcome, deep divers, to an exploration of a story where a child's innocent eyes can sometimes see things much clearer than adults, peeling back layers of prejudice to reveal, well, fundamental truths about justice, courage, and just what it means to be human.
That's a great way to put it. Today, we're really diving deep into a world like that, a classic story whose wisdom, it just keeps resonating.
Our focus today is Harper Lee's seminal American novel, To Kill a Mockingbird. We've gathered some really compelling excerpts, pivotal moments that don't just tell the story, but really light up its core themes and unforgettable characters.
Exactly. Our mission really is to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight from these powerful sections. We're going to delve into that rich tapestry of life in Macomb, Alabama, through the unique narrative voice of Scout Finch.
Yeah, and we want to uncover how that childhood clarity clashes with some really deeply entrenched prejudice, the subtle ways kindness shows up, and, that challenging journey of trying to figure out what does this all mean in a world that's just full of complexity.
It's about understanding not just what happens, but why it matters, even now.
Okay, so let's start by unpacking the foundations. Let's talk about Macomb itself and the Finch family, who are, right at the center of it.
Sounds good. The narrative voice, as most people remember, belongs to Jean-Louise Finch, but we know her as Scout.
Right, Scout. And she kicks things off by introducing her older brother, Jeremy Atticus Finch. And she mentions this detail about his arm, how it was broken at the elbow when he was nearly 13.
And how it healed just a little bit differently. It's subtle, but it kind of foreshadows the trials they're going to face, doesn't it?
It really does. That image of the mended arm, it grounds the story in something physical, but it also sort of prepares you for the emotional wounds and the resilience they'll show.
Yeah, it's like a quiet testament to their ability to heal, but, still carry the marks of what happened. And the Finches themselves, they're deeply woven into Macomb's history.
Going way back, right, to Simon Finch.
Exactly. Simon Finch. He was a Methodist, fleeing persecution, made his way to Alabama, made a fortune practicing medicine, and then, kind of ironically, bought 3 slaves and set up Finch's Landing.
That detail always strikes me. Seeking freedom, but participating in slavery. It sets up this tension right from the start, reflecting the South's complex history.
It absolutely does. And this tradition of living on the land at the landing continued for generations until Atticus, well, he broke the mold. He went to Montgomery to read law.
And his younger brother, Uncle Jack, went off to study medicine in Boston. But their sister, Alexandra, she stayed put at the landing.
Right. But it's Atticus coming back to Macomb to practice law that really sets the stage for our story. And his very first clients, well, it wasn't exactly an auspicious start.
No kidding. The last 2 persons hanged in the Macomb County Jail. Scout says that experience gave him a profound distaste for the practice of criminal law.
And that's so revealing about Atticus, isn't it? It suggests his later commitment to justice isn't just some abstract idea, but something deeply personal, forged in seeing injustice firsthand.
And because of Simon Finch's legacy, Atticus was, related by blood or marriage to nearly every family in the town.
Which is crucial for understanding Macomb. It's this insular, interconnected place. Everyone knows everyone. Social ties are both comfort and constraint.
So this town, Macomb, what's it actually like, beyond the family connections?
Scout paints a pretty vivid picture. It's an old town, but it was a tired old town. Streets turn to red slop in the rain, grass grows on the sidewalks.
Even the courthouse sagged in the square.
Yeah.
Like the whole town is weary.
And the heat. You can almost feel it. A black dog suffered on a summer's day. Bony mules hitched to Hoover carts, those Depression-era carts, flicked flies.
It's more than just description, though. It feels symbolic.
Totally. Macomb isn't just a backdrop. It's like a character itself. It's slowness. People moved slowly then. They ambled across the square, took their time about everything. That reflects this resistance to change, this deeply rooted tradition.
And that inertia, that's the ground where all the moral conflicts, especially around race, are going to play out. History just hangs heavy there.
Definitely. And within this setting, we have the Finch household. Atticus, Jem, Scout, and Calpurnia, their cook.
Who is much more than just a cook.
Yes.
Scout's mother died when she was 2, so he says she never felt her absence. But Calpurnia fills that space with, as Scout remembers it, a tyrannical presence.
Yeah, always winning their epic and one-sided battles. But the key thing is, Atticus always took her side.
Which says a lot about Atticus right there.
It's huge. It establishes Calpurnia as this central moral authority figure, and Atticus backing her against his own kids, that signals his unconventional egalitarian values, sets him apart.
It's an early sign of his respect for people, regardless of race or status. It really paints a picture of Scout's upbringing, showing how these relationships shaped her.
Absolutely. And speaking of shaping experiences, Scout's world really opens up when Charles Baker Harris arrives.
Dill.
Dill. Yeah, he spends summers next door with Miss Rachel Haverford. Scout calls him a curiosity. Puny for going on 7. Snow white hair, those expressive blue eyes. He's the spark, isn't he? Injecting imagination and an outside view into the Finch's world. The three of them, Scout, Jem, and Dill, they have their adventures, their treehouse, staging dramas.
Based on Oliver Optic and Edgar Rice Burroughs. Classic kid stuff.
Right. But Dill's the pocket Merlin, Scout says, his head teeming with eccentric plans, strange longings, and quaint fancies. He's the one who really gets them fascinated with the Radleys.
But there's a vulnerability there too, right? With the stories about his father.
Oh, definitely. At first, he claims his dad's this larger-than-life railroad president. Later, it becomes clear it's more about his longing for a father figure who's actually present.
So his imagination is partly escapism, a way to cope.
I think so, yeah. It underscores that kids feel these complex things too, and it's that mix of curiosity and maybe a bit of needing distraction that pushes them towards Macomb's biggest mystery, the Radley place.
Ah, the Radley place. 3 doors to the south of the Finches. Basically Haunted House Central for them.
Pretty much. Inhabited by an unknown entity, Scout describes it as this low, was once White House, kind of drooping, always dark. They even believed Radley Pekens would kill you.
That says it all about the fears surrounding it, and the Radleys keeping to themselves. That was unforgivable in Macomb.
Exactly. You were expected to socialize. So the stories about Arthur Boo Radley just festered, hanging out with the Cunninghams, resisting arrest, locking the beetle in the outhouse.
And then his father stepping in, promising to keep him out of trouble, which basically meant keeping him locked away for 15 years.
Right. Total disappearance from public view,
Right,
which just fueled the gossip, especially from Miss Stephanie Crawford.
The town gossip, yeah.
Yeah.
Spreading the story about Boo stabbing his father in the leg with scissors.
Leading to Boo being locked in the courthouse basement, then sent back home. Atticus speculates, chillingly, there were other ways of making people into ghosts.
And when old Mr. Radley died, Boo's older brother Nathan came back and just continued the isolation.
It's this intense story of community fear and ostracization, how fear can just warp everything.
So no wonder Dill's arrival just ignites their obsession. Standing there, hugging the light pole, staring and wondering.
And Jem's dares escalate, touching the house, trying the fishing pole note delivery.
Right through a loose shutter. And then the big one. Sneaking into the yard at night to peek in the window.
It's more than just kids playing games, though. It reflects that human pull towards the unknown, but also how fear and prejudice get mixed in. The Radley place is like a small version of Macomb's bigger anxieties about difference.
And that night raid ends terrifyingly. A shadow appears, a shotgun blast.
Jem loses his pants escaping, but then later he goes back alone to get them.
And finds them folded across the fence, crudely sewn up.
That's the first real crack in the monster image, isn't it? Jem even says, he could have cut my throat, but he tried to mend my pants instead. It's this tiny hint of Boo's actual humanity, his hidden watching, maybe even protecting.
So we've got the town, the family, the mystery. But Scout's first day of school, that really throws Macomb's social order into sharp relief.
Oh, absolutely. Scout can already read and write thanks to Atticus and Calpurnia, but the new teacher, Miss Caroline Fisher, tells her she's been taught all wrong.
Miss Caroline, young, idealistic, and completely clueless about Macomb's ways. A total fish out of water.
Jem tries to explain her teaching method as the Dewey Decimal System, which is hilariously wrong, but it highlights the gap between theory and Macomb reality.
And that reality hits hard with the Cunninghams. Walter Cunningham, first grade, no lunch money.
Right. Miss Caroline offers him a quarter, but he won't take it. Scout tries to explain, he's a Cunningham. They don't take what they can't pay back.
Atticus explains it later. They're poor farmers, hit hard by the Depression, paying debts with firewood or potatoes. He respects their integrity. Came from a set breed of men, he says.
And that lesson gets driven home when Jem invites Walter for lunch.
Ah, yes, the syrup incident. Walter pours syrup all over his meat and vegetables. Scout makes a face.
And Calpurnia drags her into the kitchen for a fierce lesson. Yo, folks might be better than the Cunninghams, but it don't count for nothing the way you're disgracing them.
More than just table manners, right? It's about basic human respect.
Exactly. Calpurnia is reinforcing Atticus's values, and then you get the stark contrast. The Yules.
Burris Yule, filthy, rude, brings a cootie, a louse into the classroom, only shows up for the first day.
Atticus has to explain them to Scout later. The disgrace of Maycomb for 3 generations, living like animals. And the town makes allowances for them, like letting Bob Yule hunt out of season because his kids are starving.
Because he spends his relief checks on green whiskey. It's a really complicated picture Atticus paints, not just black and white.
No, it's messy, and it all leads to Atticus giving Scout that fundamental piece of wisdom. You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb into his skin and walk around in it.
That line is everything. These early experiences, they just lay bare Maycomb's hierarchy, the poverty, the prejudice. And Atticus's lessons on empathy, they're the bedrock for the whole story.
They really are. Teaching that context and compassion sometimes matter more than just the strict letter of the law, which becomes crucial later.
And tied into this idea of quiet connection, we get the not-whole gifts.
Right. Scout finds 2 pieces of chewing gum in that oak tree on the Radley lot. Jem's initial reaction is pure caution. Don't eat things you find. Reflects that ingrained fear.
But the gifts keep coming. 2 polished Indian head pennies.
From 1900 and 1906, then the little soap carvings that look like Jem and Scout.
So personal. More gum, a tarnished medal, a broken pocket watch on a chain with an aluminum knife.
Each one is like a tentative step out, isn't it? A silent message. It builds this picture of Boo as watchful, maybe lonely, definitely gentle, trying to connect.
But just as they decide to write a thank you note,
They find the knot hole filled with cement. Nathan Radley claims the tree is dying.
which Atticus later confirms isn't true.
And Jem gets it. He cries silently. He understands Nathan Radley just cut off that fragile connection. It's brutal. Highlights that theme of forced isolation, the cruelty in preventing even that silent friendship.
Okay, so moving forward in time, the seasons change, and Maycomb gets this incredibly rare snowfall. Coldest weather since 1885, Scout says.
Yeah, Mr. Avery even blames it on bad children. It's this disruption of the normal rhythm sets the stage for, well, more unexpected events.
The kids are thrilled, of course. They build a snowman, using mud as a base because there isn't quite enough snow.
And they make it look like Mr. Avery. Atticus sees it and makes them disguise it. You can't go around making caricatures of the neighbors. Another little lesson in respect.
They use Miss Maudie's hat and hedge clippers to change it. But that same night, something much more serious happens. Miss Maudie's house catches fire.
It's a huge event. The whole neighborhood turns out. Fire trucks come from other towns. It shows this community solidarity in a crisis.
And Miss Maudie herself is amazing, standing outside watching her house burn but cracking jokes. Always wanted a smaller house, she says. Incredible resilience.
Truly. But during all that chaos, something quiet happens. Scout doesn't even notice someone putting a blanket around her shoulders.
It's Jem who realizes later. It had to be Boo Radley.
Exactly. He connects it back to the mended pants. It clicks for them. Boo isn't just watching, he's actively protecting them.
It's a huge turning point in how they see him. Like Jem said about the pants, he could have hurt them, but chose to help instead. Now this.
Atticus even acknowledges it subtly. Someday, maybe, Scout can thank him for covering her up. It cements Boo as this Mockingbird figure, providing comfort, expecting nothing. Pure kindness.
And speaking of hidden qualities, that brings us to the Mad Dog incident. This is where Jem and Scout's perception of Atticus completely shifts.
Right. Before this, they see him as old, feeble. He reads, he doesn't hunt or play poker like other dads. Scout even wishes he was a devil from hell, anything more exciting.
Their view's about to get rocked. A dog, Tim Johnson, is seen acting strangely. Rabies.
Calpurnia recognizes the danger immediately, alerts Atticus and Sheriff Heck Tate. And Tate, knowing how dangerous a rabid dog is and needing a perfect shot, he hands the rifle to Atticus.
Revealing Atticus's hidden past, the deadest shot in Macomb County in his time.
Atticus takes the shot reluctantly and drops the dog instantly. One shot.
Jem is just blown away. One-shot Finch, he calls him. But Atticus is completely humble about it, tells them not to brag.
And Miss Maudie provides the context later. She explains Atticus gave up shooting because he felt it gave him an unfair advantage over living things.
It wasn't about showing off skill, it was about restraint.
Precisely. Miss Maudie emphasizes that real courage isn't about displays of power, but about knowing when not to use it, or using it only when absolutely necessary for the greater good.
It totally redefines courage for the kids, shifts it from just physical stuff to, like, moral strength and humility. Atticus becomes this figure of quiet, principled power.
A whole new level of respect. It's a lesson in what real heroism looks like, not flashy, but based on conviction.
And the lessons keep coming, this time about a very different kind of bravery with Mrs. Dubose.
Oh, Mrs. Dubose. She's introduced as just plain vicious. An old lady shouting abuse at Jem and Scout from her porch, especially targeting Atticus for defending Tom Robinson.
Yeah, her insults are brutal. Your father's no better than the niggers and trash he works for. That kind of thing.
Designed to wound. And eventually, Jem snaps. He takes Scout's baton and just destroys Mrs. Dubose's prized camellia bushes.
Total meltdown. Atticus's punishment isn't what you'd expect, though.
No spanking. Instead, Jem has to go read to Mrs. Dubose every afternoon for a month.
Which turns out to be this strange, difficult ordeal. They read to her, and she has these weird fits that end when an alarm clock goes off. And the time before the alarm rings gets longer each day.
It's all very mysterious until after she dies. Then Atticus reveals the truth. Mrs. Dubose was a morphine addict.
Wow. And the reading sessions.
They were part of her plan to break the addiction before she died. She was determined to die free, even though it was agony. The alarm clock timed her doses, and she was pushing the time longer and longer.
Choosing this incredible, painful struggle over just letting go.
Exactly. And she leaves Jem a single white camellia in a candy box. A snow on the mountain, a symbol of maybe forgiveness, or her own hard-won purity.
Jem is furious at first, calls her an old hell devil, but then he has to rethink everything when Atticus explains.
And Atticus gives him another definition of courage. He tells Jem, Mrs. Dubose was the bravest person I ever knew. Why? Because courage is when you know you're licked before you begin, but you begin anyway and you see it through no matter what.
That's powerful. It expands the idea of courage way beyond shooting mad dogs or facing down mobs. It's about fighting internal battles, psychological strength.
And again, that lesson about not judging by appearances, finding immense strength where you least expect it. It deepens everything Atticus has been teaching them.
Okay, so the Tom Robinson trial starts casting this long shadow. And right around then, the Finch household gets a new dynamic. And Alexandra arrives.
Atticus's sister. She decides the children need some feminine influence now that they're growing up. But her idea of influence is, well, very specific.
Very Maycomb-centric, right?
Yes.
She's obsessed with family background, gentle breeding. The Finches are fine folks, and they need to act like it.
Exactly. She tries to drill Scout and Jem on their family history, who's related to whom, upholding the family name in Maycomb's social hierarchy. It's all about appearances and lineage.
Which clashes massively with Scout's whole personality. And Alexandra hates her breeches, wants her to be ladylike, finds her sluttish.
It's this constant pressure to conform, and what's really interesting is how Atticus handles it.
Yeah, he tries to deliver Aunt Alexandra's message about gentle breeding and behaving like a little lady and gentleman.
But he's so uncomfortable doing it. Scout describes him fidgeting. He basically gives up halfway through. He just can't bring himself to really push that mindset on them.
It shows the conflict right there in the house. Alexandra representing Maycomb's rigid social code, Atticus representing individual conscience and worth, and Scout resisting those constraints.
And to really understand Maycomb's complexities, the kids need experiences outside their own bubble. Calpurnia provides a crucial one by taking them to her church.
First purchase African ME Church, a significant place paid for from the first earnings of freed slaves, but also used for gambling by white men during the week. Stark segregation.
Their arrival isn't entirely smooth. One woman, Lula, confronts Calpurnia. You ain't got no business bringing white chillin' here. They got their church. We got ourn.
Shows the divide from the other side. Understandable bitterness, maybe.
Perhaps. But Zebo, Calpurnia's son, and the others quickly welcome them. The community's warmth overcomes that initial friction.
And service itself is eye-opening for them. The congregation sings by Linen.
Because most can't read, the leader sings a line, they repeat it. It's a practical adaptation, but it highlights the systemic lack of opportunity, like basic literacy.
And Calpurnia explains later why she speaks differently there, nigger talk, as Scout calls it, than she does with the Finches.
She says it would be out of place to use fine English with folks who don't speak that way or read. It's about fitting in, not making others feel small. Scout realizes Cal leads a modest double life.
That idea of code switching. navigating different worlds. It's a huge lesson for Scout about identity and society.
Definitely. And the service also involves Reverend Sykes locking the doors until they collect $10 for Helen Robinson, Tom's wife.
Because she can't find work. With the accusations hanging over Tom, Scout starts asking questions about rape, about why Helen's being punished. Cal has to explain the ugly reality of prejudice.
This whole visit gives Scout and Jem and us this invaluable look into the Black community's dignity, their resilience, their solidarity against injustice. It deepens Scout's education immensely.
The tension around the trial keeps building, and it culminates in that incredibly dangerous night at the jailhouse.
Right. Tom Robinson is moved to the county jail. Atticus knows trouble might be coming from the old Sarum bunch, so he goes down there alone, sits outside reading, basically acting as a one-man guard.
Just sits there with a lamp and a book. Amazing courage. But the kids, Jem especially, they worry about him.
So they sneak out, along with Dill, and follow him. They find him there just as 4 cars pull up. Sleepy-eyed, sullen men, including Walter Cunningham Sr.
The lynch mob. They've come for Tom. Atticus faces them down, calm but firm. It's terrifying.
The air is thick with potential violence, and then Scout bursts out.
Having no real idea what's happening, she just sees a familiar face in the crowd.
Hey, Mr. Cunningham, how's your entailment getting along?
Just like that. Talking about his legal troubles, asking about Walter Jr., just pure innocent kid conversation.
And it completely throws him. It forces him to see Atticus, Scout himself as individuals, not just symbols in a conflict. It shames him. He tells the mob to leave. They just disperse. Atticus says later Scout made Walter Cunningham stand in my shoes for a minute. That was enough. Shows that even a mob is made of individual people.
And we find out later, Mr. Underwood, the newspaper editor, was watching from his window upstairs the whole time with a shotgun, ready to back Atticus up.
So this scene is pivotal. The power of innocence, of human connection, diffusing hatred, Atticus's quiet courage, but also unexpected allies, even in that town.
Okay, so the trial itself, this is the dramatic heart of the book. The courthouse square is buzzing, almost like a festival.
Yeah, a gala occasion, Scout calls it. Families picnicking. A bizarre atmosphere, really.
Yeah.
And the Black community sits separately in the balcony. That's where the kids end up sitting with Reverend Sykes.
And down below, they spot Mr. Dolphus Raymond.
Ah, Dolphus Raymond. The wealthy white man who prefers living with Black people. He pretends to be drunk all the time, sipping from a paper sack.
But it's just Coca-Cola inside. He tells the kids he does it to give the white folks a reason they can understand for his lifestyle. They could never understand that I live like I do because that's the way I want to live.
It's a sad commentary on Maycomb, isn't it? That he has to perform this charade just to be left alone. He trusts the kids with his secret because they haven't learned those prejudices yet.
So the kids are up in the colored balcony watching everything unfold. Sheriff Heck Tate testifies first.
He describes finding Mayella Ewell beaten up. Crucially, he mentions her black eye was on her right eye. Atticus locks on to that detail.
Then Bob Ewell takes the stand, described as a little bantam cock of a man, rude, boastful.
Claims he saw Tom rape her and Mayella through the window. Atticus exposes his ignorance, then asks him to write his name.
Revealing he's left-handed. Key piece of evidence, given Mayella's right black eye.
Then Mayella testifies. She seems fragile, but Scout notes she's actually a thick-bodied girl accustomed to strenuous labor.
Her story is that she asked Tom to break up an old chifforobe, and he attacked her. But under Atticus's questioning, she gets evasive, especially when asked if her father beat her.
She eventually just breaks down, calls Atticus and the court cowards, refuses to answer more. It feels like she's hiding something, trapped.
And then Tom Robinson testifies, described as a black velvet Negro, strong, but with a crippled, useless left arm. Physically couldn't have done what Mayella described, especially the beating focused on the right side of her face.
His testimony is that Mayella made advances on him. She asked him inside, grabbed him, tried to kiss him. He tried to get away without hurting her.
And then he says the line that in that courtroom probably seals his fate. When Atticus asks why he helped her so often for free, Tom says,
I felt right sorry for her. A black man expressing pity for a white woman, that was just unthinkable, a huge violation of the racial hierarchy. You can feel the shift in the room.
Atticus's closing argument is next. He just lays it all out.
Masterfully. He says the case is simple. No medical evidence, just the conflicting testimonies of 2 unreliable white witnesses against a black man with integrity and a physical impossibility.
He argues Mayella broke a rigid social code by desiring a black man, and her guilt and shame are driving her accusation against Tom to destroy the evidence of her crime.
And he directly attacks the racist assumption underlying the whole case. That all Negroes lie, that all Negroes are basically immoral beings, that all Negro men are not to be trusted around our women.
He pleads with the jury to see beyond race, to follow the principle that in our courts all men are created equal, and to simply believe him.
It's powerful, logical, morally right, but he's fighting against generations of ingrained prejudice. It's the core of the novel right there, reason versus irrational bias.
The jury goes out to deliberate, and they take longer than expected.
Yeah, several hours. Atticus sees that as a tiny sign of progress. Usually, he implies, a case like this would be over in minutes. The delay suggests someone in there was actually thinking, wrestling with it, possibly a Cunningham.
A small victory in the process, maybe? But the outcome.
The outcome is still guilty. Jem is just devastated. Scout describes his hands gripping the balcony rail, white-knuckled, shoulders jerking with each guilty. His youthful idealism is shattered.
But then, that incredibly moving moment, as Atticus walks out, alone, down the center aisle.
Everyone in the colored balcony stands up, silently. Not saying a word, just standing in respect for him for what he tried to do.
It gives you chills. Such dignity, such recognition.
Back home, Aunt Alexandra frets about the kids being exposed to all this ugliness. Atticus responds bluntly, "This is their home. We've made it this way for them. They might as well learn to cope with it."
And the next morning, the kitchen is overflowing with food. Chicken, rolls, jellies, gifts from the black community.
An overwhelming gesture of gratitude. Atticus is deeply moved, almost tearful, tells Calpurnia they mustn't do it again, times are too hard.
Miss Maudie tries to comfort Jem, explaining that some people, like Atticus, are born to do our unpleasant jobs for us. She points out that Judge Taylor appointing Atticus specifically and the jury taking time shows that not everyone in Maycomb is lost to prejudice.
Little pockets of decency. But Jem is still reeling. He thought Maycomb people were the best folks in the world, and now he sees the ugliness. In our courts, when it's a white man's word against a black man's, the white man always wins, he says bitterly. Those are the facts of life.
Atticus has to confirm that harsh reality. He also explains why women aren't on juries to protect them and reveals that, yes, one of the Cunninghams was arguing for acquittal at first, highlighting that prejudice isn't monolithic, people are complex.
But the overall result is still devastating, especially for Jem's innocence, and it underscores the quiet dignity of the black community in the face of it all.
The verdict isn't the end of it, though. The consequences keep unfolding, starting with Bob Ewell.
Right. Humiliated by Atticus in court, Ewell confronts him, spits in his face, makes threats. Atticus just takes it.
Applying his empathy again, saying he'd rather Ewell take it out on him than on Mayella or the kids. He thinks Ewell got it all out of his system.
But Atticus maybe misjudges the depth of Ewell's malice. And Alexandra is much more worried. She senses something furtive, warns Atticus, his kind to do anything to pay off a grudge.
And her fear proves tragically correct. We learn Tom Robinson is dead.
Shot while trying to escape prison. Shot 17 times. Atticus has to go with Calpurnia to tell Tom's wife, Helen. He believes Tom just lost hope.
17 times. It's just brutal. Tom becomes the ultimate Mockingbird, destroyed by the system.
And Mr. Underwood writes that scathing editorial in the Maycomb Tribune compares Tom's death to the senseless slaughter of songbirds, explicitly calling it a sin to kill cripples, whether they're standing, sitting, or escaping, directly linking Tom to that central metaphor.
But Ewell isn't satisfied. Miss Stephanie overhears him saying, "Made one down and about 2 more to go."
A chilling threat, clearly aimed at Atticus, or maybe even the children. Jem hears about it and tells Scout not to tell Atticus, trying to protect him. The danger is still very much alive.
And it all comes to a head on Halloween night.
Yeah, Maycomb decided to organize a pageant to keep the kids out of trouble after some pranks the year before. Seems safe, supervised.
Scout is in the pageant. She has to dress up as a ham.
A giant ham costume made of chicken wire and cloth. It's hot, awkward, she can barely see out of the peepholes, and she can't get it off by herself. That costume turns out to be crucial.
After the pageant, Jem is walking Scout home in the dark. Near the Radley place, under that big oak tree, they're attacked.
It's sudden, terrifying. Scout can't see much because of the costume, but she hears scuffling. Jem screams for her to run. His arm is badly broken in the struggle.
The costume protects Scout, though. She hears metal scraping on it. Then more scuffling, kicking, someone wheezing heavily. Then silence, except for someone staggering and breathing hard.
Chaos and confusion in the dark. Atticus runs out, finds Jem unconscious. Dr. Reynolds is called. And then Hecate arrives with the news.
Bob Yule's lying on the ground under that tree down yonder with a kitchen knife stuck up under his ribs. He's dead, Mr. Finch.
Just like that, the threat is over, but how? Scout's costume saved her, Jem is hurt, Yule is dead. But who fought him off? Who is the person breathing heavily?
This leads directly to the final, awaited revelation. Inside the house, Scout sees the man who carried Jem in. Doesn't recognize him at first.
Describes him as a countryman, very pale, with white, sickly white hands that had never seen the sun. Immediately, you suspect.
In Jem's dim bedroom, Hecate is asking questions, and Scout finally points the man standing silently in the corner. Why, there he is, Mr. Tate. He can tell you his name. It's Boo Radley.
Arthur Radley, after all the years, all the myths, he's standing right there. And Dr. Reynolds comes in and just casually says, "Leave in of Arthur," like it's perfectly normal, humanizes him instantly.
Atticus understands Boo's discomfort with the light and attention, gently guides them to the porch instead of the bright living room. Scout, remember your father's lesson, instinctively leads Boo to a chair in the shadows.
Real empathy in action. She then takes him to Jem's bedside. Boo just looks down at Jem with timid curiosity, lightly touches his hair. Such a gentle gesture.
And then Boo speaks, in a voice like a child afraid of the dark, almost a whisper, "Will you take me home?"
So vulnerable. And Scout, with incredible maturity, takes his arm, makes it look like he's escorting her, as any gentleman would do, and walks him back to the Radley house.
Standing on his porch, she finally sees the neighborhood from his perspective, realizes he'd been watching over them all along, a silent guardian who finally stepped out when they needed him most.
It's the complete resolution of the mystery. Boo isn't a monster. He's the ultimate protector, another Mockingbird. Scout's act of walking him home shows how much she's grown, fully understanding Atticus's lesson about walking in someone else's shoes.
Which brings us to the final moral decision, orchestrated by Hecate. Atticus, believing Jem must have killed Yule in self-defense, is ready to face the legal consequences.
Sticking to his principles of law and transparency, but Hecate shuts that down immediately. Jem never stabbed Bob Yule, he insists.
He puts forward the official story. Bob Yule fell on his own knife during the struggle. He produces Yule's kitchen knife as evidence.
It's a fabrication, but Tate argues it's necessary moral justice to drag Boo Radley, this intensely shy, reclusive man, into the limelight for saving the children. Tate says that would be a sin.
He says it explicitly. It'd be sort of like shooting a mockingbird, wouldn't it? Bringing unwanted, destructive attention to someone who only did good. He insists, let the dead bury the dead. Protect Boo.
Atticus struggles with the law versus this higher moral truth, but he finally understands and accepts Tate's decision. And Scout, having just been on Boo's porch, having seen the world through his eyes, she understands too.
When Atticus asks her if she understands, she confirms Tate's metaphor. Dragging Boo out would be sort of like shooting a mockingbird, wouldn't it? She gets it completely.
Her journey is complete. Walking home, she thinks about Atticus's lesson about empathy one last time, realizing just standing on the Radley porch was enough. And then, with that classic kid perspective shift, she thinks there wasn't much left to learn now, except possibly algebra.
Perfect ending. Tate chooses moral justice over legal process to protect the innocent and vulnerable. Scout fully grasps this complex ethical choice, marking her true coming of age. So wow, we've really dug deep into the heart of To Kill a Mockingbird today. Journeyed with Scout and Jem through all the layers of Maycomb.
Yeah, we've seen that clash between innocence and prejudice, the quiet power of sticking to your morals, and those profound lessons about empathy, different kinds of courage, and real justice.
The excerpts we looked at really drive home that enduring power of seeing the world through someone else's eyes, don't they?
Yeah.
And the heroism in just standing up for what's right, even when it looks hopeless.
And the unexpected kindness that can pop up where you least expect it. The story just keeps reminding us how vital compassion and understanding are, especially in a world that, often struggles with both.
It really does. So as you reflect on these characters and their journeys, maybe consider this. Who are the mockingbirds in your own world?
Yeah, those individuals who maybe don't fit the mold, who cause no harm, maybe even bring good, but are vulnerable to judgment or prejudice.
And what role do we play, or could we play, in protecting them? Choosing that moral conviction, even when it's not the easy path. Something to think about long after this deep dive is over.